Welcome if this is your first time here, and welcome back if you've been here before. This is part 2 of my Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Nationals competition experience. In my previous video, I talked about how I prepared for the Canadian Nationals 2025 and how my approach leading up to the competition was very different. Make sure to click subscribe so you get to stay up to date with all the content that I share on this channel. At the 2025 Canadian Nationals, this was the first time that we were assigned tables. In 2023 and 2024, we were able to choose where we sat, which could be strategic in some ways that it was for me, which I discussed again in previous videos. But this time you were seated depending on how well you have done in previous nationals or regional competitions, sometimes virtual competitions as well. Because of my result in 2024, which was the 10th place finish, I was placed at table 2, which is much higher than I expected or thought I deserved to be sat at. And I'm also surrounded by people that are definitely expected to place very high, if not win the competition. So that wasn't great for my confidence going into the competition. What was also new this year is the top 40 individuals from each qualifying round moved on to the final, but the top 8 of those 40 would be rewarded with a full-size table in the final round, which is a massive advantage. So obviously my ideal finishing place in the qualifier would be 8th place or higher. However, at a nationals competition, in an individual round, I have never finished higher than 10th, and in a qualifying round, I've never finished higher than 13th. And the qualifier round from 2024, I finished in 21st, and it was a disaster. So I'm hoping to be 8th or higher, but it's not something that I am expecting. I've been training, but so is everybody else. There is a lot more participants at the Nationals this year, especially some top performers from the western part of Canada. So again, 8th place would be very nice. Unlikely to happen though, based on my previous results. The qualifying round starts. Again, I don't record my qualifying rounds just due to limited table space, which is also another reason getting a full table in the final is ideal. It's easier to record, make the content, whatever. So right now I need to go on my memory. So the puzzle is right behind me, right here, called Joffrey Lakes Park, and it is just a stock image. For every round outside of the individual qualifiers, they would be Canadian-based artists, but for the individual rounds, both stock images. This picture was very similar to the image they had in the first qualifying round, which was also of the Rockies and a lake. So it's a nice way to compare, I guess, between the two groups, but the results in the other qualifier don't matter to me. It is still a nice Canadian-themed image. It is nature-based, which, as I mentioned before, not my strongest suit. So not off to a great start. The first thing I do is flip the pieces, obviously, and sort out the edges as I'm flipping those pieces. In 2024, I did go with a plan to do something similar. Again, go back and watch that video. That is not what happened, and it turned into a disaster. So I had to keep reminding myself this time to make sure I stuck with my plan, do what I have been training over the past few months. So after the pieces are flipped and the edges are together, I look at what I will do next, and the sky is sticking out to me, the white cloudy sky. It isn't the approach many people would take, but I have been practicing sky quite a bit in the months leading up to nationals, especially when I was practicing with my nationals team. I did work on the sky quite a bit in our team puzzles, so thank you for helping me prepare by doing that. So I pulled out all the white pieces. The problem was, as I was pulling these out, I glanced back at the image one more time and saw that the reflection near the bottom of the puzzle also has white in it, obviously because it's reflecting the sky. So I'm taking out a lot more pieces that I would like to do for a smaller project to start the puzzle off. While there are differences between the color of white or the shade of white on here, there's so many to go through. I will be wasting time trying to sort between the two. So this wasn't a great idea. The benefit is that I have pulled all the white pieces out, but I know if I continue with the white, it's going to slow me down. The sky at the bottom also isn't right up against the edge of the bottom. There is a line of puzzle pieces, maybe two in some cases. So you don't really even have a starting point for where the reflection of the sky would be at the bottom of the puzzle. So that's not going to help either. So what do I do in this case? Use the people around you to help give some ideas. Now, since I'm seated at table 2, as I mentioned, all the people around me are very, very good puzzlers. So whatever approach they're taking will probably be the correct one. So I look at the person that's sharing the table beside me. Her name is Ivy, and very, very excellent puzzler. I glance over to see what she is doing, and I see that she has started across the middle. You can see more of an aquamarine color in the water. There's also a neon green line that separates the trees from the water, and that's really standing out. I look at the pieces that I have left on the table. It has helped that I've removed all the white and put them off to the side. So what's left, this bright blue color, does stand out. I have never done a puzzle where after the edge, I've gone across the middle of the puzzle design. So this was a new approach for me. Let's see how this works out. I have nothing else to lose at this point, and I don't want to fall further behind the people that are around me. The aquamarine part and the neon green part go together quite quickly. There isn't tons of pieces with it, but it does let me then go into the water just below, the bluish water just below the brighter blue, I guess. The reflection of the sky now starts to stand out as well, so I can pull those pieces out of the pile of white that I have right beside me, and then it's just filling in the rocks and other objects at the bottom of the puzzle. So it all comes together quite quickly because I started in the middle and worked my way down. I essentially finished the bottom in a pretty good time, with the exception of one piece, which is probably sorted amongst the rest of the white pieces off to the side. Not worth my time finding it. It will show up at some point, so I move on to the top of the puzzle. Because I had sorted out the cloud pieces at the beginning, transitioning to the top of the puzzle was not that hard. And the only white pieces that were left belonged to the cloud, because I had finished essentially everything in the bottom already. So I was able to go through the sky at a very quick pace. So great. It does give some credibility to those who micro-sort. I don't do it as often as I maybe should have, but that's a topic for a different day. So after the sky went together quite quickly, again, thank you to my teammates for assigning me to do all that sky practice. Even the mountains came together quite quickly after that, and then we hit the trees. All that's remaining is the trees, and I knew this would be the most challenging part right from the start. I had no sense of timing for this puzzle or how others were doing. All I could really see were the people on either side of me. I had a slight lead over the person directly beside me, Ivy, and across the aisle from me was Liam, and I was slightly ahead of them as well. So I was feeling pretty good, as I know both of them are great puzzlers. No one else had really finished yet, but as I've mentioned before, you could just have a whole bunch of people finish all at once. So I had to keep pressing through, hoping that I can finish in the top 8 spot. It will be close, but I'm feeling pretty good. No one has finished yet, and I think we're around the 40-ish minute mark, and I'm feeling pretty good. So at 43:05, Shelby Campbell finishes in first place. Well done to them. At 46:48, Riley Graybrook finishes in second place. Again, great time. 11 seconds later, at 46:59, Maddie Loudon finishes in third place. So people are trying to finish quick, and I said that is what could happen and what will likely happen, and it is happening. It's worth mentioning that those 3 names that I just said, they did not compete at the 2024 Nationals. So that shows the competition level is growing, and every year you don't know who is going to show up and do very, very well. None of these 3 individuals were seeded at least in the front row. So tables 1 through 8. I don't even know if maybe one of them was in the second row, and I think the rest of them were a bit further back. So anyone on any day can win or place very well. That is the first 3 spots gone. I'm doing my best to try to get through these trees. It's going slowly. 47-16. Katie, who I've mentioned before, she finishes in 4th place. Between the times of 50 minutes and 47 seconds to 51:03. So only what is that? 15-16 second differences. Kirsty, Sophie, and Devin, all great puzzlers, also finished in 5th, 6th, and 7th place respectively. The time doesn't matter to me, it's the place that matters to me. But now the top 7 spots are gone, only 1 spot is remaining to get that coveted full-size table in the finals. I am getting close to finishing. I've done the shape sorting for these trees, but every piece feels like it's taking minutes to find a spot for them. I also hear people talking around the room. It sounds like there's some small celebrations here and there. I don't know if they're related to finishers or if just general people talking, but I am getting more nervous as I go through these last few remaining pieces. And then I am pretty sure that I hear a proper cheer from somewhere in the room. Unfortunately, meaning that 8th place spot has been filled, which would mean the best I could hope for at this point is 9th. And really, there's no difference between 9th place and 40th place if you're just trying to qualify for the finals. Regardless, it means you will get a half-size table in the final, which will make the final puzzle a bit more challenging. But I also could be wrong. Maybe something else happened. I could be wrong with my finisher count. I don't think I am, but I'm going to keep pushing through and hope that I can get this done. So we're coming up on 52 minutes. I placed the last tree piece in, thank goodness. I think I'm done, but then remember I mentioned before there is that one piece at the bottom of the puzzle that I wasn't able to place in at the time. I thought at the time that piece would be mixed in with the rest of the white pieces. It wasn't. I did a quick look on the ground below me. There was a piece between my feet. Great. Pick it up, go to put it in the puzzle. Doesn't fit. I don't know how a piece that doesn't belong to me ended up between my feet, but it did. Luckily, again, the person beside me, Ivy, is aware of that I'm looking for a piece. She has a piece that looks very similar that doesn't fit in her puzzle. She knows it doesn't fit because she only has the trees remaining as well, and it's a bit of a white piece too. She says, try this. I give her the piece that I randomly found. Shockingly, that both those pieces fit for each of us. So at exactly 52 minutes, I place that last tree piece in. I am done, and now I need to hope for the best. While I am happy that I finished the puzzle, 52 minutes, not a bad time. Would have liked it to be faster, obviously. I don't celebrate because I don't think I'm in the top 8. I'm pretty sure I counted right, and the 8 spots have been filled. I finished in 9th, so close to that. I am still checking the live updates on the website. My name hasn't been uploaded yet. There's a couple names missing. And then the update comes through and I show up in 7th, which I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I was counting correctly. I refreshed it a couple times. I dropped to 8th. Okay, I can do 8th. 8th works just fine. I'm relieved for a second, and then I realize, well, maybe they're still catching up with other names. I give it a few minutes. I double check. Once we get to places 15, 16, 17, I realize, okay, they've probably finalized those earlier spots. Somehow, I do finish in 8th place, beating 9th place by just 34 seconds. So in a lot of the videos on here, I will talk about how seconds can matter. This is a case where 34 seconds made a huge difference to what I would potentially accomplish in the final round in a few hours. After the round is complete, as usual, I have quite a few hours between the qualifier round and the finals. This was the first year I wasn't in the first qualifying round, so it was less time between the two. I am participating in the pairs events and the teams events, but just based on the scheduling, I don't have any events between the qualifier individuals and the pairs. Sorry, and the individual for the finals. My pairs event comes later in the day, so I have a bit of time to waste. In previous years, I would go for a drive, sometimes back to the city that I live in, and go to the gym or do something there. Because when you have 6 or 7 hours, while I do enjoy Georgetown, Ontario, there isn't tons to do there. So this time I figured I wouldn't drive back, make my annual visit to Puzzles Canada, the largest Canadian puzzle store, spend a bit of money there, of course, and yeah, then I head back to the venue. As I'm doing pairs and teams events this year as well, I have spoken to more puzzlers since last year's Nationals. I am trying to be more social at these events, so I do spend some time at the venue talking with people, people that I've heard of or I've not had a chance to speak to in the past. My Instagram page at Canadian Puzzle, same as this channel, has been live for a while now. People that have recognized me from there are coming up to speak with me, which I love. Always encourage that to happen. Meeting new people, super fun. I do that for a little bit, make sure I get something to eat, and then I need to start focusing on the final round, which is approaching quite quickly. So throughout the day, I've been doing some live updates on my Instagram account, which is keeping me up to date with what's going on, keeping me on schedule as well. But I do need some time for myself. So each year, there's some nice trails that are close to the venue, and I leave and I go for 90-minute, 2-hour walk in this area just to kind of reset my brain, refocus on what's coming up, make sure I go over what my strategy will likely be, and go through the potential artists that could be selected for this final puzzle. We know it's one of 6 artists. We just have to kind of guess what it might be. If it's a certain artist, what approach would we take? If it's this artist, what approach would I take? And just kind of go through the different steps, set up my game plan for that final puzzle. Also remembering that I have a full table, how will I use that to my advantage? The final round is about to start, and it's still assigned seeding based on how you finished in the qualifier rounds. Because I finished in 8th in the second qualifier round, I was placed at table 16. I've mentioned before that I am a creature of habit. I do like to go places where I am comfortable in these types of competitions. For the first 2 years at Nationals, in the 4 different rounds that I competed in, I had the same table every single time. And I liked it because it was more towards the middle of the room. You don't really have any spectators to deal with. The lighting is quite nice, and you're also not the focus of what's going on. If you're more towards the edges of the front or the back, there are a lot more eyes on you, which I don't need to add extra pressure to the pressure I already put on myself. This year in qualifying, I was put at table 2, like I said before, which was right at the very front of the room. There are people that are able to go there and watch. It is where the spotters spend a lot of their time as well. There's people having conversations. There are some distractions there. Lighting is a little bit different at the front of the room, but you go with what you are given. For table 16 in the finals, it was at the opposite side of the room that I've never been at before. For when I competed, I've always been on the opposite side, and this table was right up against the very edge where all the spectators that want to can stand. So not an ideal spot for me, especially with it being the finals and being someone that was put at a full table. There's expectations that I should do well based on my qualifying time. What is funny, though, is that having people around you that you know can have a sense of familiarity, and as that person who likes their that creature of habit aspect, that can be beneficial. While I was at table 16, at table 15 was someone named Carly, who I've mentioned in previous videos, because she has been randomly beside me in previous competition rounds in 2023 and 2024. So this worked out quite well. I thought it was a nice way to kind of end the competition. We've gone head to head before. Yes, we're competing against each other, but you're competing against yourself. It is a good way. She has beaten me in the past, so if I can keep pace with her, maybe I'll do quite well in the final round. Last year I finished 10th. The year before that was 19th place. So if I can do better, maybe better than 10th, I'll be thrilled. If I'm in the top 20, I'm super happy with that as well. The countdown begins and the final starts. Like I said, we knew the 6 Canadian artists that were selected to design the puzzles for this competition. One artist was already out of the way because a pairs puzzle had been completed, so we knew that one wasn't going to show up in the finals. We were down to 5 potential artists. 4 of them, I don't mind their style. They kind of go well with puzzles. They're great artists, but there was one artist, also super talented artist, that everybody I know was very much hoping would not show up at the individual final puzzle, and that was Katerina Mertikas. I hope that's right. Very, very talented artist. Love her art as art, but when it's on a puzzle, super challenging. And that is exactly who the artist was that did the puzzle for the individual final puzzle, which is right here, entitled A Walk in the Rain. Now, I know that her puzzles are challenging because I was able to practice one of her 1,000-piece puzzle designs in my training leading up to Nationals. I did it with my Nationals partner. I'm not going to discuss the time that it took. It just took a long time, more than I think it's ever taken me to get through a 1,000-piece puzzle with a partner. And I realized that is, if her puzzle shows up, I hope it's a team's puzzle, because then there's at least 4 of us having to work on what would definitely be a challenging puzzle. Again, beautiful art, but in a puzzle format, very, very challenging. I did mention in my previous video, in preparation, I did do a puzzle, at least one puzzle, from all the artists that were being featured at Nationals. And I said in that video that while that puzzle might not be used in the finals, you can learn some of the artistic techniques that these artists use. And it can be beneficial in future puzzles. So there could be an advantage by practicing these artists beforehand. So to my side, this is the actual recording time-lapse video that I took during Nationals, and you can see the progress that I am making as I discuss the approach that I took. As I start, I make sure to spread out the pieces as much as possible to use that full table space. I get the edges and put as much of them together as I can. Because of the design and how quickly I'm going, I'm going to miss a couple of the edge pieces, but some of just trying to figure out where each edge piece goes. Sometimes it's not worth finishing all the edges, but at least you get a general outline of those pieces. It is important to recognize when you just have to move on to the actual puzzle bit, the edges will be there throughout, so I don't want to waste too much time on that. This did take longer than I would have liked though, but I'm hoping that's the case for everybody else. By around the 10-minute mark, I knew I had to move on from the edge. Ideally, I will have everything flipped and sorted and the edge put together by the 10-minute mark, but I'm not going to get stuck on it. I have enough of the edge that I can move on. So over the next few minutes, I do some mini sorts, so I can start setting up small projects that I will work on going forward, things that stand out to me. You will see a pile of pink flowers, which, if you see the image of the puzzle, that's the top right corner. I know this will be the hardest part of the puzzle just by looking at it, and I don't even want to deal with those pieces. There's a lot of them, so if I can move them out of the way, when I'm looking through the rest of the pieces that are there, the pink flowers aren't going to be distracting me. They won't be overlapping the pieces that I'm looking for to finish other spots. So they're sorted, they're out of the way. I'll deal with them later. At the 20-minute mark, I had most of the houses out of the way, done some of the sky, which is nice. A few characters had been started as well. I felt like I was making progress, but it did feel like I was definitely going slower than I would have liked, and other people are starting to pull away from me, which isn't great this early in the puzzle. I could certainly be going faster. It's just it's such a challenging puzzle. By the 30-minute mark, I had done a good chunk of the bottom right corner with the grass and some of the flowers. I was still behind the other puzzlers who I could see from where I was sitting, and I was getting distracted by the fact I wasn't keeping up with them. And if I'm not keeping up with them, who knows who else am I not keeping up with? I need to refocus, make sure I'm only focused on what's in front of me, because that is all I can control. At 40 minutes, the top left corner and the bottom right corners are essentially done, but you can see that large looming hole in the top right where that pink tree is going to be going, and that is going to take some time to get through. I have made up some time on people. Again, I'm glancing at the tables around me, but instead of using it as a distraction, I'm using it as a motivator. If I could catch up a little bit with each of these sections, I might be able to pass a few of them, maybe finish a few spots higher than I originally thought. Between 40 and 50 minutes is where I made up the most amount of time, I think, from what I could see from the people around me. Because I had done that other puzzle by Katerina, which had a lot of ice on it, it was a very similar style, especially to the bottom left part of this puzzle where it's all water. And I didn't even realize it was water until afterwards when I saw the title of the puzzle. And because that's how similar the styles were. It was a lot of ice in the other puzzle that I did. This was water. It followed the same type of brush strokes, the same type of artistic pattern. And I remembered that from the challenging 1,000 piece and used it to my advantage for this puzzle. So there is an advantage to practicing the artwork, even if that same puzzle doesn't show up. Here's where the advantages start to pay off through practice and training. When I was ready to move on to the pink tree, I glanced at the tables around me. I had passed a few of them, which I knew I was doing very well. Also, no one had finished yet. I just had one corner left, so I'm feeling pretty good at this point. And then I started the pink tree. And while I knew it was going to be a challenge, I had no idea. I quickly realized why no one had finished the puzzle yet. This was a grind to get through this part of the puzzle, which is rare in speed puzzle competitions. At 56 minutes and 17 seconds, for the second year in a row, the winner is Megan Sloka. Absolutely outstanding time. A huge congratulations to her. About a minute later is Riley Graybrook, who finishes in second place, and soon after that, in third place, is Katie DeLuz-Sicard. Again, all outstanding times by three amazing puzzlers. These were also the only three people who finished under the 1 hour mark. To compare, in the first year of Canadian Nationals in 2023, all 20 finalists finished under 1 hour. Last year in 2024, 31 of the 45 finalists finished under 1 hour. This year, in 2025, just 3 people finished under 1 hour. So it kind of gives an indication on how much more challenging this puzzle was. It's also worth noting that different skills come into play when you have a puzzle where, like I said, it's more of a grind to get through. The design itself doesn't become as irrelevant to your ability to finish the puzzle. Using piece shape is also not as useful as it might be in other puzzles. What this becomes is a competition with those who have more dexterity and are able to move their hands quite quickly. If you can use 2 hands at this point, that's also going to be a huge benefit. So it brings in more of a physical advantage for those who are able to move their hands a lot faster. Also for those who can stay organized. What pieces have you tried? How are you resorting pieces that you've tried and putting them back? Are you keeping track of all of these? Or are you just randomly picking up pieces? It's another strategy that some people might not consider when they're practicing. It's also why practicing more challenging puzzles in your training can benefit you later on. Very shortly after the 1 hour mark, 4th place and 5th place finish with Shelby and Devin finishing in 4th and 5th respectively. Shortly after them is in 6th place, Tess McLaughlin, who is also new to the Canadian Nationals this year. She won the Western Regionals. She's also my partner for Worlds coming up in a few months, so I'm very excited for that. Happy to see them finish at that standing as well. So excellent for the top six finishers. Once we get to the 1 hour mark, I'm about halfway through the pink tree. I'm starting to pick up pace now because there's obviously a lot less pieces to go. But I'm still feeling pretty good. I don't know how other people are doing. I never do. I know I'm going faster than the people closest to me. So as long as I can get through these pieces, using quick hands, staying organized, I should be all right. Finishing in the top 10 again is looking pretty good. But again, you never know. I am still grinding away at these pieces. It's very similar to the morning, where the trees took a long time, where each piece feels like it's taking minutes to find a place for. But at the 1 hour and 7 minute and 10 second mark, I put that last pink piece in and finish with a personal best finishing place of 7th, and I am ecstatic. It is worth noting that there was a 3-minute gap between 6th place, which was Tess, and myself in 7th place. But in the next 5 minutes after I finished, another 11 or 12 people finished. So a few seconds later, even a minute later, I'm dropping down to maybe 10th place, if not further back, closer to 20th place. So again, feeling pretty good, but it's always a good thing to look at the final times and remind myself that each second, minute counts when it comes to these competitions. But finishing in 7th place is give me an absolute amazing feeling. I surprised myself. I didn't think I was finishing in the top 10, let alone in 7th place. The training and planning that I mentioned in the previous video worked out. A little luck involved as well. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. However, finishing in 7th did mean one thing that wasn't great. It does mean I finished 1 spot off of the prize positions, which are the top 6, end up on the podium, if that's what you want to call it. But honestly, that's okay. It's just something to strive for in the next competition. Now, after finishing that puzzle, I was absolutely exhausted and mentally drained. Unfortunately, less than an hour after that, I have to compete in the pairs qualifying round with my partner. That became an instant worry. The positivity of finishing in 7th place, that's gone, because now I have to refocus and focus on the pairs qualifier. And then I start to worry, am I so tired now and exhausted that we might not qualify? I might not be able to put my best puzzling forward and may not qualify for the pairs final. Statistically, it was the pairs event is the hardest one to qualify for. It's the fewest amount of people that can qualify to get to the finals. So there has to be that extra level of energy that goes into it, and I honestly don't think I have it. So how did me and my partner do? Well, you'll have to watch the next video to see how that turned out. So make sure to click subscribe so you get the update on when that video is released. So that is it for part 2 of my 2025 Canadian Nationals story. Let me know in the comments what you think of that final puzzle. What was your approach if you did participate in that event? Or if you haven't done that puzzle yet, Do you think I took the right approach, or would you have done something different? Let me know, and I'll read in the comments below. Coming up, lesson 1 of my Speed Puzzling 101 videos is going to be uploaded very, very soon. It's recorded and ready to go. I have also recorded, by the time that this video is posted, my first special guest appearance for this channel as well, which I am super, super excited for and can't wait to share that with everyone here. So again, please make sure to click subscribe so you get updates on all the content that is coming out, especially in the lead up to Worlds in what would this 10 weeks, 11 weeks from now. So yeah, click subscribe, make sure you click like, and you know what, share this as well if you really want to. I'm happy with that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So that is it, and until next time, as always, happy puzzling. Bye.